To better serve your e-commerce customers, you need to understand what they want. So in this video, I'll explain seven UX research methods that the pros use to understand their customers better. I have used these methods for the past 7 years to drive millions in additional revenue for my employers and customers. And no, you don't need to be a UX person or a designer to get value from these, as most of these are easy to set up and to get insights from. These methods allow you to identify what people like about your website, where they drop off, what objections they might have, and why they choose your company over others. Hello data people, I'm Robert from Clicks.ly and I'm here to help you understand and analyze data to make better decisions in e-commerce. I'm going to start with the methods that are easiest to set up and gather data on, and as the video progresses we'll move into more advanced methods which, if done right, yield richer insights. The first method is a bit obvious and your site probably already has this, but let's see if you can guess what it is. So let me ask you a question. Where would you look to find out which page on your e-commerce website visitors abandon the most? Well, if your answer is Google Analytics or other web analytics platform, then you're totally right. The first method is to use web analytics to get quantitative insights from your website. This is a great place to get answers to questions like where did the visitors come to your website, what pages they visited, how long they stayed, what they clicked on, and at what point of their journey they abandoned the site, and a lot of other quantitative data you can get from web analytics. It can help you decide what products potential customers are most likely to buy and how different payment methods affect your revenue. Your website probably already has Google Analytics 4 or similar installed, but to get insights you need to know how to read the data and then turn that into insights. You can click on this video here, there's a banner to learn my 6-step system for turning data into insights. That takes me to the second method, which is similar to the first one, but it makes it a bit more visual to look at, so it'll be easier for you to find out where people clicked on and how far they scrolled on the page. Let me show you an example. This is my GA4 for e-commerce course landing page, and all of the dots you see here are people clicking on different elements. And look, you see the red dots here. This means a lot of people clicked on this. This is the most popular element they've clicked on. And how about this one? You can see the page starts with red colors, but as I scroll it gets blue and then darker and darker. And on the side here you can see the percentage of scroll. So heat maps and click maps are the second method that pros use to analyze their customers. And you will be able to get answers to questions like where did the visitors click on? Did they click on elements that are not clickable? And how far do they scroll? Do they see the element that I actually have a bit lower on my page? But it's really important. For a beginner tutorial on how to use heat maps, click on the video banner right here in the top and it will take you into my in-depth tutorial on heat maps. But in summary, the tools I like to use are called Hotjar or Microsoft Clarity, which is totally free. That said, the method I use weekly is just such a good tool with different use cases. So imagine you could see what exactly people do on your website. Wouldn't that be cool? Like where people navigate to, how long they stay on a specific element, and are they using our new feature how we designed it? Well, the good news is that you can do it already. Check this out. This is someone from the US visiting my landing page. You can clearly see how they scroll, go through my website and click on the course content. And you can just see what they are doing throughout their journey on my website. And by the way, this is a page from my Google Analytics 4 course that I designed specifically for e-commerce. If you need to learn GA4 for e-commerce quickly, check the link in the video description. But anyway, these recordings are called session recordings and they are the third method. Now, at first it might seem a little bit creepy, but don't worry, this software doesn't actually record the screen, but instead it just recreates the website and then it just knows where the user's mouse has been positioned and where they've been clicking and so on. So personally, I use session recordings constantly. I use them to get a feel for how people use the website. So do they use the filters on lister pages, or maybe they don't spend much time on the product description and scroll directly to the reviews. Another way I use them is to test new features. I'm able to see if people are using the new feature like I intended, or maybe they are completely confused by it. You can see it clearly in the session recordings. When I work with e-commerce teams, I advise them to use session recordings to double check that nothing has broken on the site after a new major code release. It's just such a handy tool to have. The cool thing is that the same tools that provide heat maps usually also provide session recordings. So check Hotjar or Microsoft Clarity for those. And by the way, not all data is created equal, and you should be only looking at data relevant to your role. That's why I've created a cheat sheet that shows you the most important metrics and KPIs specific to different e-commerce roles. You can just download it by clicking on the first link in the video description. Okay, let's dial down our inner stalkers, because I haven't seen anyone using the fourth method anywhere. It's so simple, but it can clarify what content is the most interesting to users on specific pages. And it's not opinion-based, it gives you hard cold data. So imagine you're scrolling on a homepage of an electronics shop and you see accordion like this one here. And you click on the most interesting questions, and then you go on and, navigate the website. Seems pretty harmless, right? But in reality, this accordion is actually a hidden questionnaire, and that's my fourth method. Use this accordion tracking thingy. I think I need to give it a bit better name. What about painted accordion test? That sounds more business-like, right? Let's go with that, painted accordion test. So the way this painted accordion test works is you come up with different questions people might have, and then you need to think specifically in the context of that page. So if it's homepage, then you are probably new to the website. So what type of questions you might have at this point? That could be questions about brand trustworthiness, if there are any promotions right now on the site, or maybe just how you get started on the site. So you need to brainstorm ideas and then create this type of FAQ accordion, and just don't include too many questions. 5 to 6 is totally fine. And if you have more, make sure you only show 5 to 6. And then make sure it's also randomized in the randomized order, so it's not always the same questions at the top. That way you know for sure what questions are the most interesting to people on this specific page. It'll be easy for you because you can create content around the most interesting topics. If people are interested in promotions, maybe you need to talk about those somewhere on your homepage. If they're interested about the founder of your company, then you can just add a block there or something that relates to that need. And so far, have you noticed that each method just gets a little bit richer in insights? And for the following methods, we are going to mainly get qualitative data. Before it was quantitative, that just means we're gonna focus a little bit more on the why and how users behave. Now, the next method is pretty straightforward. I'm sure you had to use some variation of this during your studies, but when you apply it in the online world, it just actually works wonders. This is one of my favorite ways to get qualitative insights from website visitors. Let's say this is your product landing page. You come here, use the site for a while, and then get a survey like this. If it's relevant and easy enough to answer, you might even do it. And that's the fifth method, is to use website surveys to gather insights from your customers' data. And you might be thinking, surveys, do people actually fill them? And you'd be surprised how many actually do them. If you keep them short and clear, they will be filled in, especially on the thank you page. On the thank you page, you can ask people who just bought something open-ended questions like, what almost stopped you from buying today? This would give you insights into what objections people have, so then you can address that on your website. Or you can ask, what convinced you to choose us over other alternatives? This would tell you what your customers value in your products or brand. Really insightful stuff. You can ask many interesting questions, and I have an in-depth video about my favorite survey questions for e-commerce. You can watch it by clicking on this banner here at the top, and there'll be a tutorial. Now, keep in mind that analyzing the answers takes a bit of time because you need to have enough answers, preferably somewhere between 200 and 300, and then you need to group the answers by topic so you can quantify and compare them later. But even individual answers give you so much insights. If you have any questions about trying any of the methods I mentioned in this video yourself, book a call with me. I can help you get started or give you tips on how to get valuable insights based on your needs. That takes me to the sixth method, which is to use UX research methods. These methods actually include a few different tests all of which can help you gain different insights. And let me tell you about my favorite 4 tests. So the first test, if you need to find out if people get your campaign messaging, use a 5-second test where participants will be shown your design or website for 5 seconds. And then they need to answer a few simple questions like what was the main messaging about on this page, or what do you think this website is selling, and so on. I think it's the perfect tool to check if people understand your messaging and if they're focusing on the right things. For example, if most responses mention the model without mentioning your product, then you probably want to use an image without the model. Otherwise, it just distracts people from your main point. The second test, if you have 3 ad designs and you need to find out which one resonates with potential customers, then use preference tests. During the preference test, the participants will see 3 different ads and they get to choose their preferred one. And they need to add comments about why they prefer one over the other. The third test, let's say your UX and design team has created new designs for the product page, but needs feedback on them. You can easily set up a prototype test using clickable designs to see if participants like it and know how to use it. This is much faster than actually coding the designs and only then finding out that most people can't find where to read the reviews. The fourth test, if you want to find friction points on your current website, you can easily conduct unmoderated usability test. Unmoderated just means that the participants go through your website by themselves. However, they do need to talk out loud and describe what they're doing and why they're doing something. And also you give the participants tasks to complete on your website, and that's what they're kind of trying to do. For example, you can ask them to find out a product that fits their needs and add it to the cart. And once they complete this task, you can watch videos about it and just see what they talk about and where they get stuck. But okay, let's be honest now. There is no better way to get insights than the 7 method. It's the granddaddy of all of them. With this method, you can get the deepest insights, and it's easier and cheaper to set up than most people think. Because wouldn't it be cool to see how people use your website and then ask questions like why they did certain things, how they usually do it on the competitor's website? Well, that's the thing, you can if you conduct a moderated usability test, either online, on Zoom, or in person. In summary, you invite people to join your research for exchange of free product or gift card, and then you give them tasks to complete and watch and listen as they go through it. But the difference is that you are present in the room. So if they get stuck, or if you want to ask follow-up questions as they navigate through your website, you can just do it. Now, to be the moderator that sits with the participants requires some skill, but you can definitely learn the basics very quickly. And it's actually easier to organize than you think, because all you need to do is get participants from your email list. And if you don't want to do research on existing customers, keep in mind that in some cases people are on your list but never bought from you. So that's a good candidate also. To get proper insights, you only need 5 to 6 participants. That records participants' screens and maybe another camera to record their reaction so you can see it at the same time. Then you can get a free streaming software like OBS and stream everything to YouTube. And you can make the stream unlisted, so it's not public or anything like that. And voila, now one person can be with the participant in the same room, and the rest of the team can watch the live stream of the usability test from another room. So you don't, if there's like 10 people watching the person doing it, it gets a little bit creepy, right? It's not a very comfortable place to be. So that's why only one person with the participant and the rest are outside. A moderated usability test is the best way to get so many nuanced insights that you just can't get from other methods. I strongly suggest you try this at least once. Seeing people struggling with your website is eye-opening, not only for you, but also for your stakeholders. We as e-commerce professionals take things for granted, but people miss obvious things. Even if you make super big red, they will miss it. And it's actually our fault, because we should make it easier and more clear for them to use. Now you know my favorite UX research methods to understand customers better, but once you have the data in front of you, it's not easy to turn it into insights. That's why you should watch this video next to learn how to turn web analytics data into actionable insights with my 6-step system.